Hey, welcome everybody. Nitzan Mosery here, the Traveling Investor, and welcome to another edition of the Traveling Investor Show. This is a live show where we broadcast on Facebook and YouTube, and where you can get to ask myself and my guests questions about what we're talking about. And, the show is geared to help you master your mind, body, and wallet, right? We talk about how to create finances, how to create a lifestyle that you can go out and live life on your terms, how you can create any type of business based around your lifestyle rather than your lifestyle being focused on your business. And my goal is to bring guests that can help us in all aspects of our lives, in our health, where it's physical, spiritual, mental, in our physical bodies, in our physical wallets. And today we've got an incredible guest. Her name is Dawna Campbell, and she's considered the mind whisperer. She's got a great website, and Dawna combines her past knowledge and wisdom and experience to assist people in creating and restoring a life of happiness, prosperity, and love with thought from energy healing. And we always talk a lot about on this show how thoughts are things. Your thoughts are energy, and what you focus on expands. And I like to bring people on the show that can actually give us real solutions or real processes and systems for us to be able to go out there and manifest happiness, manifest relationships, manifest finances and a lifestyle, so that we can do it. We hear a lot out there of people saying, well, just think positive and just think positive. And I'm sure many of you out there listening today on the show, you would consider yourself a positive person. However, there are certain ways and things that we can go about doing that we can really concretely attract whatever it is we want in our lives. And Dawna has over 25 combined years of professional experience. She's now completing her book, Become Financially Fit, which bridges together the financial world, the energy body, and the soul's essence, which is pretty much kind of what we talk about on this show. So Dawna is a great fit for us today. She travels as a motivational speaker, sharing her techniques during interactive workshops, and maintains an international private practice. Her personal heart-centered healing philosophy is to create a world that is a better place for all to live. So let's give a warm welcome to Dawna Campbell. Hey, Dawna, how are you?
Good, and thank you for having me on today. It is a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you. I know you're a very busy person, healing people, getting people back on track. So I want to say thank you for taking the time out to share with us your knowledge, your experience, and some things that we can do today to start moving ourselves towards manifesting and creating a better life for ourselves. So
Yes.
Thanks for being on the show. And say hi to Master Yoda.
I love it.
He's always here with us, and because I have him here because I love his saying, right? What does he always tell Luke Skywalker? Do or do not. There is no try, right?
No try.
It's got to start up here, and then you got to believe in it, and you got to just go out there and do it. So once again, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
And before we came on the show, you're saying that you're from Big Fork, Montana.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. How long have you been in Big Fork?
I've been here about 6 years, and it's a fun little resort town up by Glacier Park, and it's kind of like Lake Tahoe before Lake Tahoe got really big. So I figure if you can live the life you love and love the life you live where you want to. So I live here and I travel the world, and I get to come back to this. That's
awesome. That's awesome. The beautiful thing about what I do is in real estate is that you can live where you want and invest where it makes sense.
Exactly.
And, that's kind of why we chose South Florida, because we always wanted palm trees and beaches. But, we can go out and do business anywhere in the country or even in the world, which is awesome.
Yes, absolutely.
So Dawna, tell us. So you're the mind whisperer. Ooh,
yeah.
I like that. I like the way that sounds. So what do you mean by the mind whisperer? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, throughout my studying, I studied with a medicine woman. I've studied with yogic healers, a shaman, a Zen Buddhist monk, uncovering the secrets to really what it means to live a a life of prosperity and abundance. And some of the techniques that they taught me throughout the time allows you to shift and change your viewpoint, your perspective instantaneously. And when that happens, you get to create the next area or the next stage of your life, releasing all of those energy blocks that were stopping you that you didn't even know were there. And because I have this ability for this technique, what happened was I earned the title of the Mind Whisperer because I help people instantly create the life they are meant to live.
That's awesome. That word instantly. So
Yes.
I mean, is it really instantly or does it take time?
Both. It is instant in the moment. Because what happens is when you change the feeling, which is the energy that we give our thoughts, to a different energy, then you have a new chemical balance from the brain that flushes through the body. It happens really, really fast. If you were to rub an onion on the bottom of your foot, in a couple of seconds, you would taste it in your mouth. That's how fast energy moves through our body. Well, our body has density, but we're working on an energetic level. So what happens is that energy has to condense down into physical form to that density. And our mind, our brain, sometimes thinks it takes time to do that. So anytime you go to sleep or you meditate, you go into an alpha and or a theta brainwave, and that's the subconscious using those brainwave patterns, and that's when it reprograms the body. So even though the change took place instantly, you feel it in the moment. Over the next several days, more and more of it comes. And then pretty soon you're in a whole different reality. And you're like, I don't know how I got here. All she said was, can I do this instead of that? And I said, yes. So it happens instantly, but our recognition of it follows.
That's amazing. I love that. And just to set the stage here a little bit for yourself and our listeners, I've been a Reiki master for over 20 years. I've studied naturopathic medicine, and I've met with shamans in the jungles of the Amazon. I've been with shamans in Australia with the Aborigines. So I have a deep connection as well, and I truly believe, and it's more than a belief. It's a knowledge, right? Once you get past that believing stage, you kind of you know that it exists. You know how to use it, right? It's kind of like Luke Skywalker and using the Force, right? Once you know how to use it and you understand how that it exists, you can actually create whatever it is you want by doing a few simple steps, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have it 100%.
So what were you doing before you came the Mind Whisperer, and how did you fall into it?
I grew up in Silicon Valley, and I was pretty close to the poverty line. And I became incredibly passionate about helping people with money and to provide opportunities that I didn't have growing up. But I went into the field of financial planning, and I was an advisor and a managing principal for about 10 years. And what happened for me was I traded my health for that job. I couldn't digest food for 2 years. Then my marriage of 14 years ended. Oh, wow. And then after that, after following all of the money rules, we had 9/11, a global recession, and like everybody else, I was financially devastated. So the only common factor that all three of those things that had in there was me. So I moved to an ashram, which was a spiritual living community, to start studying and understanding meditation. And it's not as something that I did, but something as a way of life to embody. I studied brainwave patterns and physics and science, and I started seeking out natural healers like the medicine woman and shamans and yogic healers, and really uncovered some patterns and some things that I could change within myself energetically that just spontaneously created a whole new reality. So I took their teachings, brought it together, and dedicated my life for the last 11 years working as an international healer. And now what I'm doing is I'm taking that message from the individual level to the global stage as a professional speaker. And then my book, Financially Fit, that you mentioned, is published now. So it's an international Amazon bestseller, sharing these messages with the world, because if I can do it, you know what? You can do it too.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I just want to say to our listeners, if you have questions during our interview, our conversation, feel free to type them in and we'll answer them live during the show. So let's get into it. You know, we hear a lot, or I hear a lot, and you know, you hear on social media and people talking. Thoughts are things. Just think positive. Just think what you want, and it'll manifest. But there's so many people out there that consider themselves positive thinkers, positive people, but they're financially broke. They're in these bad relationships, and they just can't figure out why. What do you say to them?
I'm going to ask them, well, how do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about money? And how do you feel when you're broke, or that you're not ahead or farther along than what you thought you should be? Because that's going to give me an indication of what is stopping them from having what they want. The law of attraction says your thoughts and your beliefs come into reality. But that thought or the belief needs an energy or a fuel to allow it to come into existence. Just like driving your car. Different cars take different types of fuel. You can have regular gasoline, Supreme, diesel. You can have an electric car, a hybrid car, a hydrogen car, and it takes different fuel. If you don't put the right fuel in the car's not going to go anywhere, but there's still a car. So we have a thought that's like a car. You have to put the right fuel in the subconscious, which is 90% of our manifesting capabilities, to make it go forward for the 10% of your conscious reality. And you have to have that in alignment first. And that's what I do for people. I help them realign that inner balance so then they can consciously, effortlessly create and manifest into the future and gain infinite prosperity.
That's awesome. So you ask them how they feel about money and how they feel about themselves. And, you know, how would people know what to feel about? You know, I mean, someone can say, well, I feel good about myself. Right. But then, you know, I guess you would break it down and you'd get to what, their inner child that you're seeking. Or is it something different, right? Because we also hear a lot of people saying, oh, you know, go back and figure out who your inner child was and what happened back then. You know, we hear a lot of Tony Robbins as well. He says, you know, go back and let's see what manifested in your childhood. And, you know, let's go back to that one spot and fix it. And then it'll come back and align everything up to where you are today.
Well, what happens? I'll give you a quick example. I was giving a live presentation once in Connecticut, and I pulled a person up from the audience and I asked him what he wanted. And he said, I want to create more money. And I asked him why. And he said, well, I'm fine. I'm comfortable where I'm at, but I want to have a little bit more because my kids, they're in high school. They're getting ready to go to college. There's some things we want to do as a family. And I asked him, and so his why was a relationship, his family relationship, to why he wanted more money. And so I asked him what he felt about it. And he goes, I am so frustrated because all I have done is take these steps and nothing happens. I've done everything I've been told to do. So I know frustration, part of frustration is the energy block from having it come into existence. So I asked him where he felt it out in his body. Because the energy will be locked up, and he felt it in his gut and had a huge knot there. Well, when was the first time that you felt that? And he told me, well, the memory that pops into my brain is when I was 9, my parents got divorced, but I don't know how that is related. Well, his parents got divorced, the more got divided up. Each family was comfortable, but the extra wasn't there. And he was frustrated because his parents played tug of war with who he was and tried, you know, because he was the only child and it was going back and forth. So when I asked him what he needed, he said, I needed to feel a sense of appreciation and accomplishment. I want my boys proud of me and to respect me for what I've done. So we put those energies in. This is the mind whispering part. We put those energies into the subconscious and pulled out the energies of frustration. And I had him go back and relook at that memory. And he goes, oh, my parents still got divorced because the events never changed. He goes, but I'm happy. And I'm riding my bicycle down the street. And he's looking at us like, what just happened? And that energy in his stomach, the knot, he goes, it's gone. It's completely gone. And he really did look like he lost 20 pounds in front of us. It was energy weight, but he looked a lot thinner. And guess who created the more? So this is what I call a surface level. It was just used for a demonstration to really get down to the deep part of it. You get down to issues like, I'm unworthy. I need to feel appreciated. I want to know that I'm valued. And in the financial world, we use those same words.
Sure.
What is your net worth? How much did your portfolio appreciate? What is your appreciation of the assets and the values, and how you feel about yourself on the inside reflects in your money supply all the time, and you don't even know it. And how you feel about money is an indication of how you feel about yourself.
Wow, that's pretty that's pretty deep right there, right? It's amazing how when you can unblock the energy blockages, right? And things start to flow. You can literally see, like you said, right? 20 pounds of energy weight just went off.
How off of them. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And then people just go out there and do it. Now this can be done for any aspect of your life, right?
Yes. The process I use that I've been taught works with health, wealth, or relationships. And here's the secret. When you shift and change one energy fuel in one of those categories, the rest also changes because it's a vibrational universe. So if you're changing a frustration to a happiness, it changes frustration to happiness in all areas of your life, not just the category or the area you're talking about.
Wow, that's great. And when you have people, when you're working with people, do they need to be in the same room with you? Do you need to be close to them, or is it going to be done via a digital platform like this?
Yes, absolutely. I've done sessions with people on the phone. About 98% of my practice is via telephone, and then about 2% is on Zoom. I used to do in person, but we know life changes. So we do it energetically over the phone until we can be back in person, but it's not required because physics says there's no time or space.
That's right. Now, let me ask you this. Do people have to believe, right? Because a lot of people say, energy, shmenergy, blah, 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 blah. Do they need to believe that this can work? Or can they just come and start answering different questions that you pose to them and then suddenly feel differently and then the belief can come?
The only belief that needs to happen first is the belief in either a higher power or the force, as you put it, the universal love force energy that Albert Einstein talks about. And if you have a belief that an energy created you and it's in your body, it's your soul, it's your divine essence, the techniques will work. There's 3 things that I say that you need to have, and that's faith, trust, and belief. And for somebody coming to another person like me, you only have to have enough faith, trust, and belief about 3 to 6% of the time. The rest of it falls on me. I have to believe, have faith, and trust that 93 to 97% of the time, the remainder of what you don't have is there because I'm the witness. I'm watching this, shifting it, and doing it for you. And if I know it works and I have results and you believe just that much, it'll work for you.
That's great. And how many sessions is it a one-time thing? Is it a 10-part series that you go through? Explain to us the process when someone comes to you and how it works.
It depends on what the issue is and how many associated beliefs and feelings are connected to it. So if you imagine a tree branch going down and then there's all of these roots and the offshoots of the different roots, it depends on how big that is. A young tree is going to be a little bit less than a bigger, oak tree that's been around for a couple hundred years. And so it's going to depend on the person there. Some people only do 1 session. Most people fall between 3 and 5. Some people do continuous sessions and do packages of 10 or more. I would remember a gentleman who came to me who had prostate cancer. And I had worked with this before with various people. And what took me a lot longer then was a lot shorter now. He had 2 tumors. And in 3 sessions, verified, the PSA count went down and the 2 tumors were gone. And there was only a sliver of 1 little tumor left. And that was because he had a little bit about doubt left. And the doctors went, we might have been wrong. These tumors could have been benign. So come back in 3 to 6 months and we'll make sure they're completely gone.
Wow, that's
And
amazing.
they have no idea. And that's okay. We'll take that.
Sure. It's amazing. I want to really emphasize to people listening today or in the future that, we're all energy, right?
Yes.
We just vibrate at a different frequency.
Mhm.
Right? I guess disease vibrates at a certain frequency. Happiness vibrates in a different frequency, right? Frustration vibrates at a certain frequency. So we have to tap into those different frequencies and kind of shake off that negative feeling, the negative thoughts, and have them fall off of us so that we can see a new path in front of us, right?
Exactly. And with physical level dis-ease, in that frequency, if you change the frequency within the person, the disease can't exist in it. And that's what I believe Nikola Tesla meant a lot when he said his quote, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency.
Right.
And that's how I live and operate every day.
Right. 3, 6, and 9.
Yeah.
Amazing. So let's, is there anything that our listeners can do today to help them move to a different level or change their vibration? Is there something they can do on a daily basis where, if they wake up in the morning, there's something that they can do, or before they go to bed, so that they can start moving up their vibrational frequencies?
Absolutely. And the first thing to do is to have awareness and do a mental self check-in of what you feel like on the inside. And I do this for myself throughout the day. How do I feel in this moment? And if I don't feel the happiness, the joy, the peace, I identify what it is that I am feeling so I know I can shift and change it. So if you have stress, worry, or pressure, and you feel stressed out in the moment, stop, take some breaths, and write down the word on a piece of paper. And then in the next column over, write down how you would rather feel. So if you're in a stressful, pressure, worry state, and you'd rather feel happiness, joy, and carefree, then write down those words. And then what I want you to do is to take the next 30 seconds to 2 minutes, and every time you breathe in, you're going to breathe in happiness, joy, prosperity, whatever your positive words are. And when you breathe out, you're going to breathe out stress, worry, and pressure. And you do that for about 2 minutes, and it's going to chemically change the body. Because when we breathe in oxygen, the things the body needs. And when we breathe out, we're breathing out the CO2, the carbon dioxide, and the toxins the body doesn't need. And you can do that and put the associated emotion with it. That's something that you can do on a very conscious level to make the change. You might have to do this 3, 4, 5, 10 times a day until it just happens naturally. But it's a conscious way of making some of the change.
Right. And then, it's like an onion. You start peeling things off one layer after another, right?
You got it.
And it just goes. And unfortunately, or fortunately, sometimes that onion makes you cry.
Yep.
That's stressful.
But when you peel back those layers of the onion, put on petals of a lotus flower.
There you go. There you go. That's a nice one. I haven't heard that one.
Yeah.
There you go. Beautiful. So how can people use this when they're, we have a lot of entrepreneurs listening, a lot of real estate investors, things of that nature. Somebody's looking to start a business. Someone is looking to start a company, right? Guide them. Where would they start? How would they go about using energy or the thoughts or, positivity to create the foundation for their company, for their business?
I'm going to share with you what I just shared last night with another person. I am co-branding a retreat in Belize for healing businesses. And they asked me what they could do to help facilitate we being sold out before we even publicize that we have the event. Because I said, be ready. We can be sold out before we market. And they said, okay, what can I do? And it's a new venture. And so I told them what I would do is I would sit down in their quiet meditative space and just internalize and start looking at the retreat as if it was completely full. And the type of experience each person had as if you were experiencing the retreat. Engage seeing it, feeling it, hearing it, speaking it, and all of the emotions that go along with it. And their key words are about generosity and giving back. So I said, let's imagine that they had such an amazing time. They wanted to give us gratuities on top of paying for the retreat. And we can take those gratuities and put it in a scholarship fund. So then people who need to have this training but maybe can't afford it, we can offer scholarships because people give us gratuities for this and we can pay it forward. And then imagine what it's like to have people to give you the deposit that you will want to have before we do the retreat to secure their spot. And then become it. Don't just imagine it, but become it. It's like praying your prayer, but becoming the prayer that you prayed. You're doing the meditation, but you're becoming the meditation you just visualized. And in doing a new business, that is exactly what I would do, and sit down and take 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night, and go through this process, because it's a state of being. And when you're a state of being like this, the automatic doing and the action steps fall into place, and you'll be shown all the different steps that are needed without you trying to figure out what that is, because it happens naturally.
Oh, wow.
And that's what a Zen Buddhist monk taught me. And it's worked ever since.
That's great. So you're okay. So visualizing it, right? Should they write down all the processes and everything, or is it more of a visualization and internalization?
Visualization and internalization. But when you visualize, first you have to know that activates your crown chakra. Then you have to see it. So you can see like a retreat center in a business healing retreat. Then what you have to do is speak it, because that activates the next spiritual gift for clairaudience. And when you speak it, you hear it. And then you have to feel it from the heart space. And then you just immerse yourself so much and so deep that when you get down so far, you can release the energy to the universe for it to come back to you. And it's a 5-step process that I recorded about how to instantly create in 5 simple steps. But the last step is kind of the hardest. And it's a video. It's on my website, and you can certainly take a look at it. And there's a guided meditation that goes along with it. And it will teach you these 5 steps completely free to manifest and create anything in life.
That's awesome. And your website is www.dawnacampbell.com.
Yes.
Right. Yes. And I was looking at your website earlier, and we were talking about it before the show, and we were talking about the healing heart stones as well.
Yes.
Right. You want to share with us about the healing heart stones?
Oh, I would love to. My business name is the Healing Heart. And so it's a theta symbol with a heart, and it's green. And what I've done is I've gotten an adventuring heart, which is my symbol, because everything is energy, everything is programmable, whether it's organic or inorganic, it doesn't make a difference. So what I do with people who come to me in presentations and different things, I do offer these. And what I do is I encode it with a frequency of 528, which is the universal love force energy. And I download it for happiness, prosperity, and love. So you have optimal health, wealth, and relationships. And then once it goes to you, it activates to your own energy. So when you are meditating or when you need assistance, you can just sit, hold it, use it. It works as a touchstone. And whatever you need in any of those categories is going to start coming to you automatically, because we programmed it, and you're now sharing an energy field with the stone. And because you are, it goes into you, and then you can start magnetically attracting back. And I often send people a few more of these sometimes just to share and give out to other people. And I've had people message me and give me testimonies of, I don't know you, and I've never had a stone healing before, but this is what happened, and now I believe. And you're like, wow, that's pretty cool. I didn't know you. So it works.
It's amazing. It's amazing how it does work.
Yeah.
Right. I remember before I went on my journey, I was living in New York, and, I was growing up, New York City street kid. And people like energy schmenergy, whatever. It's all about the money, and it's money makes the world go round and everything. And I
Money's
only
just energy.
money is just energy, right? Money, money is like cow manure, right? If you pile it up, it stinks, but if you spread it around, it grows things.
Absolutely.
But when I started traveling, I traveled for about 6-7 years around the world. I was long-haired hippie, with the goatee and the dreadlocks and the whole thing. And I started learning Reiki and energy healing and being with shamans and so forth. And it was just amazing how when I was vibrating at such a high frequency of happiness and joy and enjoying myself and being comfortable with myself and everything, how things just manifested and people came into my life and I went to incredible places. It was just amazing. When you tune into that frequency, right? Now, so, and earlier you said, people need to have about 3 to 6% of belief and trust, right? I guess that's kind of what it says in the scriptures as well. If you believe in the scriptures and you follow them, right? Doubt the size of a mustard seed, or, you can, right? All you need is that little bit, and then you can take people over that hump.
Yep, absolutely. Right? I often call it bridge crossing, actually, because you're taking someone from one and you're crossing a bridge to a new reality. And then you go back and you pick up more. And I just keep doing that over and over.
Yeah, absolutely. That the connection when you start vibrating at that higher level, then the people that you start connecting with are also at a different level, different frequency. And now you're kind of floating around with people in that same cosmic energy of yours, and the things that you can do together are just incredible. It's just incredible.
Absolutely.
Someone's asking, how do I go about getting a stone?
Okay. Go to dawnacampbell.com/heart-stone. And there's an order form there.
There you go. Well, I'm going to tell you this, Dawna. You and I are going to talk after the show so that we can, so you can help me work on a couple of my blockages and move my show and move my business to the next, 3 levels up.
Perfect. We can do it.
Yeah. So, it's amazing how, people come into your life at a certain time, right? And we need to be open to seeing these opportunities. But I feel also a lot that, in today's world, especially with, the pandemic and the COVID stuff and everything, people are very, they're worried, they're scared, they're in that energy mode, right? How can we get them out? Can this help people protect themselves? Can it help heal them? Let's talk about the world that we're living in right now and how what you're doing can help people.
Right. Fear is one of the biggest saboteurs that we have. And when we look at the energy of fear, it's saying that there's not love in the moment. Now we know the force, the universal love force energy is love. It's not fear. So that means that you're not in alignment with your source energy, with who you are in the moment, because you are experiencing fear. But if we use it correctly, we can go, oh, wait, I have fear. It's designed to find and help me find the love in the moment. What do I need to focus on to see the love here? Now, there's 2 kinds of fear, though. There's rational fear and irrational fear. Rational fear is like, for me, living in Montana, I'm out hiking. If I stumble upon a bear, I'm going to go into fear because that bear can eat me. So it's designed to keep you safe, is what fear does. Right. But what we're talking about here is irrational fear, the fear of, I don't have love. And when I sat down with that and I started looking at viruses are about worthiness issues. And I know fear is about love, not recognizing the love in the moment. So oftentimes what was happening was we think that we're not worthy of love, but really when we put it all together, and what I've seen all around the world is the fear of not being worthy of love, and that they fear that they were worthy of love, because if they were, then they wouldn't be in this other state. And all of our feelings and emotions are designed to serve us. But if we can just take a moment and recognize that the fear is designed to awaken us to love and put us back in alignment with that source, then you are 98% ahead of the game.
Wow.
Just with that one.
How can people move from that state of fear when it's all encompassing to them?
Mm-hmm. Well, you can use the breathing technique that
Mhm.
I shared earlier. Breathe
Mhm.
out fear, breathe in love. You can do the
Mhm.
same thing. For me, when I had and recognized that there might be a moment of fear, that's an irrational fear. Because the rational fear, if you're, a house was on fire or there was a car accident, that's normal. What I do is I sit down and I take a candid look at why I have this fear. Maybe it's a fear of starting a new business or moving to the next level of public speaking. And why do I have that fear? Well, the fear is there because it's an unknown. You haven't done it before.
Mhm.
But what you do is you take the first step, the first action step, and it might be a small step. So, as babies, when we're done crawling, we learn to stand up. When we take a step, we take one step. Often we fall, but we don't have a fear of falling. We just know that we're going to take a step. And what happens is we took the step, so we're congratulated and we're affirmed and we're validated that we did something. So we do it again. And then we take 2 steps and 3 steps. Well, that's exactly what we need to do to start stepping out of fear. You take that very first step. Okay, I'm going to move into speaking. What do I need to do? I need to find a podcast. So you take a step and you sign up for a company that helps you find podcasts. And then you do the first podcast. And then you realize you like it or you don't like it and how to make adjustments. And then you just keep taking those steps. But the secret is to celebrate and congratulate yourself every step of the way, because that's the energy that keeps you moving forward. And that's what I do to walk myself on a conscious level out of fear without going into all the techniques of what am I
Mhm.
learning from the fear? What am I getting out of it? And then you can make that shift and change instantaneously that way.
That's awesome. Wow, it's amazing how we can do all of these things just by understanding where to focus our energy, where to
Yeah.
focus our breathing, right? It's I remember sitting in India, in the northern part of India, doing Vipassana meditation, which is 10
Mhm.
days of silence and
Oh,
focusing just on your breath and on the sensations of your body, and the thoughts that came up, and it's sometimes the mind attaches itself to a thought and you start running with that thought, and it's amazing where a single thought could take you,
exactly.
and then your entire body is feeling that thought as if it's happening now, but
Mhm.
it's just a thought. And
Mhm.
then you can detach yourself from that thought, come back to the moment, and look around and just understand, wow, that was an amazing journey that I never went on.
Right. Absolutely. And that's how it works a lot with fear also, is because we are fearful of something in the future, but the future isn't today. So if
Hmm.
you center and ground yourself today, that future might shift and change for tomorrow. I know a lot of people who are worried about the vaccines. And I know a lot of people who are worried about people who didn't get the vaccines. And
Hmm.
it's just the reality of our life today. And people ask me, and I'm like, well, one, I'm not qualified yet in Montana to get the vaccine because it's on a rollout system. 2, that day isn't here yet today. So why am I going to worry about it? And why am I going to go into fear about it until it's my reality?
Right.
It's far off in the future for
Hmm.
me, 2 months at least here where I live. So, when we start thinking about things that are fearful, it's because it's an unknown and we don't know what it looks like in the future, but it's not here today. So stay present, stay
Stay,
grounded.
stay present. Absolutely. That's what I learned. One of the lessons from the Vipassana meditation was being present in the moment,
Mhm.
because this is what we know. This is where we're at now. Just like you said, the future hasn't happened yet. The past already happened. We can't do anything about it. And
Right.
that's why we need to be here and now. And fear and doubt and worry
Mhm.
just takes us out of being present,
Yes, it
right?
does. It
It
does.
take it takes us out of here and now. And I tell my daughters, I have 2 daughters, one's a teenager and one's coming to be a teenager, and they're talking to me about, oh, tomorrow, and oh, what about this, and I say, but let's be here now. We're here now. Enjoy where you're at now. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about the test that you've got coming up. Worry about now. Worry about now. Here, think of where you are now. Enjoy where you are now. If you want to study now, then study now. If you want to do this now, do it now. Don't worry about tomorrow. And it's funny. They always ask me, can you remind me, or can I have this tomorrow? I say, sure, you can have it tomorrow, but just know that tomorrow never comes. And they say, well, what do you mean? I say, well, tomorrow's always today.
Yes.
And you got to be here today.
Absolutely. The ultimate test that I had with that lesson was when I was speaking a couple of years ago on a cruise ship. And my biggest fear was losing my brand new cell phone in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And it wasn't because it was hurricane season or anything like that. It was, if it falls off my case and goes in the ocean, the cruise ship doesn't stop to get it. And I needed the phone to film my video presentation and stay in contact with all of my clients because I was working on this trip. And I can run my entire business from my phone if needed. And I was on island one day and on a submarine and went up to the top to take pictures from some pelican nests. And it was that moment that I was unaware. I was too close to the railing, which was my warning. Don't get too close to the railing. You're going to lose your phone. And that's exactly what happened. And my phone went into the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And one of the guides saw it, put on his scuba gear very casually and jumped in and went after my phone. It was underwater for 7 minutes and 40 to 50 meters deep. And he told me, go down below in the part. And then when I swim up with it in the window, point it out to me. Make sure I have the right phone. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, sometimes we find them and usually they don't work when we bring them back. And he left. And I'm sitting downstairs in the little thing looking out the windows. And I'm like, it's on the other side. And as soon as I turned on the other side, because I had faith, trust, and belief my phone would be recovered, he swam up with it. And then I went, oh no, it's not going to work. Because that's what he told me. And I went, no, it is going to work. Because I have faith, trust, and belief. And he crawls over the side of the submarine and they pour fresh water all over it, dry it off. And they went, oh, your phone is working. Here you go. It's the same phone that I have today. And there's a recovery video somewhere out on Facebook for this whole process. But that is the power of faith, trust, and belief. But under any circumstance, that phone should never have worked. And yet it works. And it's been 2 years.
Wow. That's great. That's great. Yeah. It's when you have that faith and that trust and that belief, and my business partner and I, we follow those laws in our investing business. We're in real estate investing. We buy apartment complexes all around the country, and we deal with investors and tenants and managers and lenders, and things sometimes go sideways. And when things go sideways, she and I, we get on the phone and we're like, okay, you know what? This is going to happen. It's happening. We know it's going to happen. We have faith. We believe in it. And we're just going to keep moving forward one step at a time, even if we don't know what to do next. Well, okay, let's figure something out. What can we do? And then somebody will call us and there'll be an idea or something will happen. And we just keep moving one step after another. And we just keep moving forward because we have faith, we have trust, we have belief that everything's going to turn out okay. And, I'm 50 years old and I look back in my life and that's how I've lived my life, knowing that, the universe, call it universe, God, whatever you want to call it, the energy, right? The global, the existence has always taken care of me. I'm a 50-year-old man that, thank God, knock on wood, right? I've gotten through some hairy situations, but I've come out on the other end, a little scratched, a little, bruised and whatnot, but alive and breathing and well. And thank God, no major damage. And I've realized that the universe, God, call it whatever you want, has always taken care of me. And I've always believed that I will be taken care of and I am taken care of. And that's how I move forward. And when you have that thought as well, it's very comforting. It's kind of a very easy feeling that you get, that, like a little child knowing that their parents are around taking
Yes.
care of them, protecting them, right?
Absolutely.
And when you have that feeling, you can move into the world, you can move through the world with a different glide, with a different stride, with a different energy that will eventually attract that same energy to you, right?
Yes, it does, because it's all about how you're feeling in the present moment that attracts your reality. So if you're feeling fearful about something in the future, you're attracting fear to you in the present moment. And if
Mhm.
you're recalling something from the past, then that energy that you're feeling from the past is what you're creating in the present moment. So we're always creating moment by moment by moment. The way you remember the past is by changing your brainwave patterns to recall what you did yesterday or think about tomorrow, but you're still sitting in the same chair. And that
Mhm.
energy that you're feeling, no matter what the memory is what you're creating in the moment.
That's right. That's right. Right. We bring that memory from the past, that energy, that feeling, that sensation we have, and we manifest it. We create it, and it's here now in the present moment.
Yep. And it moves us into the future.
And it moves us into the future. And that's how we become whatever it is we think of and whatever it is we feel.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cycle. Some call it a vicious cycle. Some call it a happy cycle. It's just a cycle. It's how you use that cycle to benefit yourself and your family. Right. I was reading a book. It was an introduction to NLP, neuro linguistic programming. And in the beginning of the book, they were talking about how there was this experiment where they were doing it with yogurt. How yogurt cultures were creating themselves just by mirroring themselves. And the phrase came out, yogurt knows yogurt,
Yes.
right?
True.
Whatever the energy is that you're putting out, that's what the energy is going to attract, because that's what it knows, right? We always say misery loves company, right? But
Yes.
also happiness loves company, right?
Absolutely.
It's not just that side, right? And we all say, we always say, well, there's another saying, right? Karma's a bitch,
Yeah.
right? Oh, be careful. Karma's going to come and bite you in the ass. Well, you know what? Karma's going to come and put money in your pocket as well. Karma's going to come
Absolutely.
and be happy for you and be nice to you. It's
Absolutely.
all depends on what you put out and the things that you're generating in your thoughts,
Mhm.
right? It's
Yeah.
it's amazing how a lot of people don't really understand that, and they think that all I have to do is go out and create a business and create stuff and do it, and I'll be successful. Now, let me ask you this. Talk about that. There are a lot of people that go out and start businesses that don't necessarily feel that way or think that way. How are they successful? Or every successful person has that positive train of mind?
I think it's about how they are aligned in their own inner balance and how they feel about themselves. So if they're well grounded and that they know and they have the beliefs of this is what it is and how I feel about it, and that's all in alignment, then money creation just happens. They may not know or understand all of these different principles we're talking about because it's inherent to them. They don't know any different. But for then those of us that study, that learn, that come along the way, we know we can change it and make that our reality as well.
Mhm. So when people are stuck at a point, right? They're working. It doesn't matter what business or job they're at. If they're stuck and they want to increase, they want to change,
Mhm.
their first step would be to figure out what it is that they're feeling, what it is that their frustrations are, their
Mhm.
stresses, and become aware. Did I get that right?
Right. Yes. So the first step would be, how do you feel about being stuck? Now, the trick is to answer it as a feeling question because that's how it asks. Not what are you going to do to get unstuck, or how did you get stuck, or well, these things happened. And no, how do you feel about being stuck?
So can we do a little role play?
Sure. How do you feel about being stuck?
I hate it.
What do you hate about it?
Um, I don't. What do I hate about it? I hate the way I feel. I hate the fact that it makes me look bad in front of my kids and in front of my wife and my friends. I hate the fact that I see a lot of other people that are way ahead of me and I'm not there.
So hate's a very strong emotion, first
Mhm.
of all, but your reason that you don't like it is a relationship, which is your family,
Mhm.
again.
Okay.
So you hate that you're not further along. Close your eyes for a moment. We're going to go one layer deeper because the hate is
Okay.
the mask. We're going to go what's under the mask.
Mhm.
When you feel that energy and you're not as far as long as you need to go and you hate it, what does it really feel like on the inside?
It feels sad.
Yeah.
It feels empty. That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah. So the sadness and the emptiness is what's blocking you and what is keeping you stuck. So then what we would then identify next is where it's at in the body, how did it get there, what happened, and what do we need to change it to on that energetic level. And when that changes, it unsticks you because the sadness and the emptiness is gone. And there's a new vibrational frequency in place.
That's beautiful. That's amazing. Okay. Well, we're going to have a lot of work together.
All right. I'm excited. We'll see how fast you can shift and change.
Right? Let's see how fast, right? Let's see where it can go, right? We'll have you on the show again in a couple of months and we'll see where we're at.
Yes, that would be a lot of fun.
That would be fantastic. Well, our time is up. How can people get a hold of you?
The fastest, easiest way is to go to my website at dawnacampbell.com. You can fill out a little message on the contact form. If you prefer social media, I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram under Dawna Campbell, and you can just private message me there.
Awesome. Dawna, it's been a real treat for me because we speak kind of the same language and I enjoy it. And I know a lot of our listeners out there have been totally moved, and I'm sure you're going to get a lot of people contacting you and wanting to help with their vibrational expansion and with everything. And I want to just say thank you for being here with us and sharing this awesome ideas and concepts that can really, bottom line, change people's lives and change the world that we live in. So I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here today.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for having me. This was so much fun. And it's amazing how fast time flies.
It is. It's great. It's
So
been an hour and we could sit here. I could talk to you for many, many more hours, but you've got things to do. We've got things to do, but we're definitely going to be in touch. And thanks again for being on the show. Travelers, thanks for being here. We're going to be back next week, same time, same channel. Maybe you're not in the same place because we like to travel. It's going to be April 8th, our next live stream at 3:00 with Nick Pruton. He's a cybersecurity and blockchain expert. So we're going to talk about different types of investing and stuff like that. And we still got the $7 perfect money raising system happening now. And my group coaching, it's a BOGO, buy one, get one free. Buy 1 month, get 1 month free. That happens every Friday at 2:00, where you get to ask me questions. And then we've got my 6-week masterclass on how to buy real estate and create passive income so that you can live life on your terms. That's coming up, I think, May 3rd. We're going to have the first class. So stay tuned. We'll be back next week. And Dawna, it's been a real pleasure. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right, guys, take care. We'll see you next week. Be well.